my dearest little chutkus, I welcome you all to mock test 8 of our NEET Premier League. So I hope that after a week of grinding evolution, you might be pro at it. And now it's time to show that we all know everything. And the question paper of the mock test was given in the morning. Yeah, I think in the community post, or they might have put it in the WhatsApp group. So I hope you have checked that, and after which you're coming to watch this video, because without trying, if you're wanting me to solve the answer, that would be really bad, and that's cheating. So we don't want cheating. Please try for yourself. See, tick your answers. It's just MCQs, right? You just have to tick your answers and then see over here, check whether your answers are correct or not. Okay, and now for those children who are not understanding while seeing the question paper, they're very confused. It's totally fine to be confused. You are in this path of learning, and confusion is a very normal thing that should be coming to you. If it's not coming, then that's a problem. So yes, so over here, I hope all your confusions go away, and I hope all your motivation and everything comes back, because we are going to ace the exam. We are going to get really good marks as well. Yeah, so chalo, and one promise, if you can do, okay, that is, after you have attempted all the questions, and you have to give yourself +4 marks for all the correct answers and -1 for all the wrong answers. This is how in exam pattern works in the case of NEET as well. And okay, and after doing that, if you think you're okay with telling me your marks, you can tell me in the comment section. I'll be really happy. Whether it's great marks or it's low, it's totally fine. You trying is very much important for me. If you're not trying, then there I have lost as a teacher. So if I'm giving you that motivation that you should be trying, then that's a very big thing for me. And do let me know, okay, if it went well or if it went bad. What did you find out was your loophole? What can you work on? Think of it. Even if you don't want to write it down in the comment section, just think of it. Okay, what is the problem that I am doing? I have to fix this problem. If you do not identify your problem, you would not be able to fix it as well. Yeah, so yes, let's start with the first question. The correct sequence for the manufacture of molecules, organic compounds on the primitive earth is. So what is the sequence of things that were formed in the primitive earth? Okay, they have asked about molecules and also organic compounds. So it can be in the order of inorganic to organic, organic to inorganic. Do you understand what do you mean by inorganic? If there are some people who do not understand, let me tell you. Inorganic basically means the molecules that do not have CC bond. I am going to write over here, no CC bond or CH bonds. Okay, they do not have CC bonds or they do not have CH bonds. That is what you mean by inorganic things. For example, ma'am, can you give me an example? CO2. There are 2 O's in CO2. Do you see a CC bond over here? No, I see a CO bond over here. Now H2O. Do you see a CC bond over here? Nothing. Okay. Now NH3. Do you see any bond over here? No. So all these things that you see over here, they are inorganic. And initially in the primitive earth, we had inorganic things. We did not have organic things. Okay, we did not have organic things. One thing was there. One molecule was there which was considered to be organic, which was none other than CH4. Okay, we had methane, that is something different. Okay, we had methane as well. So this is ammonia, this is your H2, which was in the form of vapor, and then we had CO2 and everything. Okay, now how did the molecules, they manufacture themselves in the order that is given over here? So if you see NH3, then nucleic acid, then proteins and carbohydrates. Children, please remember, proteins are formed, then amino acids are coming together. So amino acids are the link monomers, and this is the polymer that you get. Now carbohydrates again are something bigger. They are made up of small sugars. When the small sugars they come up, you get carbohydrates. Now talking about nucleic acids, like your RNA or your DNA, ribonucleic acid or deoxyribonucleic acid, they are made up of something that is known as nucleotides. So initially with things given over here, we have to find, anyways, proteins were not formed as such. Basically these guys had to come together, and later on these things were formed. So anyways, if you see any of them in the front portion, you have to choose them. So I see proteins over here, so I just cancel it out, because proteins will be made after, obviously later on. So in the sequential order, it is made later on. Okay, now NH3 is there, fine, NH3 is there. NH3, after that nucleic acid is given, and then proteins are given, and then carbohydrate is given. What do you think? Is it correct or not? Okay, first is NH3, then it is nucleic acid, then it is proteins, and then carbohydrates. Chalo, next thing let's see. So there is NH3, protein, carbohydrates, and nucleic acid. So that they have changed the order of this thing. Now there is NH3, water, nucleic acid, and proteins. Well, children, this is the correct answer. Okay, this is the correct answer. I think you might have to take it into your brain, because I get you, because of the order you have to remember it. Okay, why I may say, because actually speaking, when the inorganic compounds came together, they gave rise to amino acids first. And you might think that amino acids, basically if they are there, they should come together and make proteins, but that's not how things worked. Okay, so amino acids came, and then also came nucleotides. Okay, so we are believing, even though it came first, the nucleotides came in order together to form the first first nucleic acid, that is RNA. And this RNA was the one that gave rise to information to form the proteins as well. So even though we had amino acids, so amino acids were kept as such. The nucleotides which were formed later on, they were used to form the nucleic acid, that is RNA, and this RNA basically helped in the formation of proteins. So this RNA gave the information that what all amino acids have to come together to form a protein. That is how things work. So over here NH3 comes first, then you have water also. Okay, you have water. So water was in the form of water vapor. The thing that you see over here, it was in the form of water vapor. The water that you see was formed later on. Okay, so NH3, then water you have, then nucleic acids we have, then we have proteins. So this is the order. If you are asked in this sequence, there could be so many other things also, but if you are asked about this sequence, it is going to be like this. Okay, works? So yeah, that's all. So I hope you got this answer. Now we're going ahead with the second question. From his experiments, S.L. Miller produced amino acids by mixing the following in a closed flask. So as I said, people didn't believe it that, okay, inorganic things came together to form an organic thing. Okay, and it was Oparin and Haldane. Who first said that this is the condition, that in the primitive earth there was a reducing environment. What, children? It was a very reducing environment. What do you mean by reducing environment? That is, there is no oxygen. No oxygen and everything was there. Okay, and second thing, the temperature was really high. The temp that you see, it was really high, and obviously you had all the inorganic stuffs. You had the inorganic things, and because of this reasons, the inorganic things were giving rise to organic things, which the first, according to them, is amino acids, as I said. Okay, so S.L. Miller was a person who said that, okay, Oparin and Haldane, you said this, but I have to prove it. So he made a jar and everything. Okay, in that jar he made sure that he had all the inorganic stuff that they were talking about, and also electrodes, okay, which could give the temperature and everything, and this was basically connected to something else which would provide water vapor. Boiling water was there and water vapor was being released, because as you know, as I told you earlier, water vapor was something that they needed. Okay, so NH3 was maintained over here. Okay, NH3 was maintained over here. CH4 was already there. They had H2 also over. Hydrogen was the gas that was already there. I told you H2O was not being formed. Water vapor was in the form of water was in the form of water vapor, right? So all these things were there. You gave the temperature, you gave the water vapor as well. This was a reducing environment. There was no oxygen that was being getting inside. So when they did all this thing, what did they get at the end? What did they get at the end? Basically, they saw that this particular tube, when they went ahead, they saw that over here, lots of amino acids are getting deposited. That means amino acids are being made in this particular condition. Now, what is the condition? That is what is being asked. Okay, what is the condition that was used by S.L. Miller to show his experiment off? So it had CH4, children. It had H2. I told you hydrogen gas was there, and NH3 was also there. Ammonia, methane, and then you have H2, and also water vapor coming from here, and this was done at 800 degrees Celsius. It was very high temperature. We needed a high temperature, so it was 800 degrees Celsius. Now if the other option comes to you, this is the condition that is given, and it's written oxygen is there. Okay, oxygen is there. So will you go for this? No, you should not be going for this. The condition where it is mentioned that reducing environment is maintained, you should be going for that, because in the reducing environment where there is no oxygen, then only things will happen. So in the initial primitive earth, we did not have oxygen. Oxygen and everything came up later, and all of them combined to some other forms. They broke down to some other forms. Okay, so that's how all this thing happened. Cool? I hope it works. Now, so the answer is this. Now, question number 3. Following are the two statements regarding the origin of life. You have two statements regarding the origin of life. Now, this is not given in the initial part of your NCERT. This is not something that I have taught you as of now. We are going to come to that, but still, I thought it's a very easy question. We should be trying it. So, let's see which of them are correct. So, the earliest organisms that appeared on Earth were non-green and presumably anaerobes. Anaerobes, what do you mean by that? Anaerobes basically means the ones that do not need oxygen for respiration. They do anaerobic respiration without oxygen. Okay, so they are saying the first organism that came, probably they were anaerobes. Okay, and the second thing, they were non-green. They were non-green. Okay. Why do you think that they were non-green? I'll tell you. Let's go for the second option. The first autotrophic organism. Autotrophs means the ones who make their own food. Okay, we all rely on autotrophs. You know, right? We rely on plants. Even if we say that we are non-vegetarians or vegetarian, whatever it is, the non-vegetarian people also eat something that is going to eat the plant at the end. So, we are always dependent on the autotrophs because autotrophs are the ones that will make the primary food. Okay. Now, the first autotrophic organisms were the chemoautotrophs. So, in autotrophs, there are two types of autotrophs. One is chemoautotrophs. Okay. One is chemoautotrophs, another one is photoautotrophs. Under photoautotrophs comes your plants, because plants takes the light energy, which is why it is known as photoautotrophs. They are using the light energy for preparing the food and we are feeding on the plants. Now, chemoautotrophs are the ones that uses chemical compounds for making energy. They are using chemical compounds for making energy. Okay, so it is said that the first autotrophs, that is probably might have been there, they were chemoautotrophs and that never released oxygen. So, in photosynthesis, you know that there is a process where we release oxygen, not we, the plant releases oxygen. But in chemoautotrophism, they won't be releasing oxygen, they don't need it over there. Okay, so basically, you only think is it correct or not. If suppose the plants over here were aerobic plant, so say the organisms over here when the primitive earth, they were aerobic, they would need oxygen. But did we have oxygen at the primitive time? No, we did not have. The oxygen was still being formed. Okay, so we cannot rely on oxygen. Now, if these organisms are not relying on oxygen, then they have to be something different. Yes, so they were different, they were non-green and stuff like that, and they were chemoautotrophic. They were chemoautotrophics because you know in the primitive earth we had all the chemicals and everything. So with the help of these chemicals, they will break down these chemicals, help in the release of some other energy form which will help them make them food. But if I rely on photoautotrophs, basically photoautotrophs have so many things, requirements being there. Okay, they have so many requirements being there. They should be having the sunlight, they should be having this H2O, they should be having CO2, lot of things. And H2O and everything were in the form of water vapor, as I already told you. So, to make this, it was impossible. So, initially, what did we have? We had anaerobes, we had anaerobic organisms, they were non-green children, and most of them we say that the first autotrophs which were formed, okay, the first autotrophs, this is something different, okay. This is entirely true, it's totally true, okay. And the second thing, there were some other first autotrophs also, they were chemoautotrophs, they were not photoautotrophs, and they never released oxygen. So, this was the thing. So, both the statements that you see over here are entirely true. So, both A and B are true. This came in NEET 2016. Cool? Works? Shall we go ahead? Okay. Question number 4. Which was absent in the atmosphere at the time of origin of life? I already told you now. What is it? Children, is it ammonia? Is it hydrogen? Is it methane? No, children, it is oxygen. It was a reducing environment. Okay, always remember that. Now, going ahead. Okay, so we have the fifth question. Which of the following structures is homologous to the wing of a bird? What do you mean by homologous? So, whenever you see the term homologous, first thing that you have to see is that the functions that you see should not be matching. So, no common functions should be there. Okay, second thing that you have to see is basically might have some similar anatomical character. Anatomical as in basically the internal thing, okay. Why do you think that they might have a similar anatomical character? Because they might have had some common ancestor, my dear children. Some common ancestor. Okay, for example, I have my forelimb over here, right? Similarly, cheetah, which is another co-mammal, it also has forelimb over there. Bat, it also has something like this, with which it flies. It is known as patagium. Okay, so wherever I see it, the structure of forelimb, I find that okay, there is a bone over here, there are two bones over here, and this is common for me, cheetah, and the bat. But they have different structures of this bone. One might be long, one might be short. That is different. But if we see the functions altogether, even though we might have common anatomical features, but if we see the function, I use my hand for having food, for writing, for a lot of other things. Okay. Whereas on the other hand, if we talk about cheetah, have you seen cheetah eating with its okay, I cannot say eating, flying with its hand? No, obviously no, it runs with the forelimb. What about a bat? It flies with the forelimb. So over here the functions are entirely different. So these structures that you see, forelimb of me, the cheetah and the bat, it is known as homologous structures. They will be known as homologous structure because I see the function are not same, but obviously they are all forelimb at the end. At the end they are all arise from the forelimb itself. Okay. Now one more thing, how do you get homologous organs? What type of evolution brings out homologous organs? Divergent evolution. Divergent evolution brings about homologous structure. What do you mean by divergent evolution? For example, there was a common ancestor from here, few organisms went there, few organisms went over here, few organisms went over here, few organisms went over here. Why? Because they had their good habitat over there and they could get adapted to that particular habitat. So here there was an environment where they had to fly. So basically they changed their structure in a way, they adapted to it, the nature, and they changed the structure in a way that they could fly. So that's how bat came. And then somewhere it had to run. So that's how cheetah and everything came. So this evolution happened. Now divergent, because they were all diverging into different direction because of the environmental needs. Because of the environmental needs, they got different. Okay. Now you have to see which of the following structure is homologous to the wing of a bird. So wing of a bird is used for flying. So we should be finding something that is not used for flying for sure. The function should not be same. So wing of a moth is easily getting deleted over here because this is not a homologous function because it cannot have common functions. Sorry, homologous structure because it does not have a common function. It should not have a common function. Second thing, dorsal fin of a shark. Do you understand by what do you mean by dorsal? Dorsal means it comes at the top region. So it has nothing to do with the anatomical structure also. Okay, so it's not similar, so I cut it off. Now flipper of a whale, I keep it like that. Hind limb of a rabbit. Hind limb as in the back limb, not the front limb. It's the back limb. So the legs that I have over here, these are hind limb. These things that I see over here are forelimbs. So hind limb of a rabbit and wing of a bird. Wing is basically coming from the forelimb side. Okay, so this is the forelimb that is there of the bird, which is helping it in flying. Okay, now over here I'm not saying anatomically it can be same just like some other organism, but at least some things should have arisen from the same place. That is, we should be talking about forelimb. We should be talking about forelimb. Now the forelimb can be different, the structure of it can be different, but has it arisen from a common ancestor? Yes, probably. So we can take them as an answer. Okay, so hind limb of a rabbit goes wrong because it is hind limb. It's not the same structure also. Okay, it's not the same structure. Wing of a bird, wing arises from the forelimb. Okay, it's a forelimb. Now over here, flipper of a whale. Whale has flippers and that is also arising from the forelimb, which is why you say that they are homologous organs, my dear children. This thing that you see over here, they are homologous organs. Why? Because both of them, they are arising from what? The forelimb region. They are arising from the forelimb region. The structure and everything could be different. I said might have similar or anatomical character. I didn't say particularly they will be having, but at least they are arising from the forelimb region. Okay, so that is something that you have to see. Now do not get confused in these type of questions. So you have to use a little bit of brain, but you will be able to do it. Okay, now that's the correct answer. Going ahead with the sixth question. Flippers of penguins and dolphins are examples of. Now flippers of penguins. Penguins also have flippers. Dolphins also have flippers. Both of them are used in what? Swimming. Now over here the function is what, children? Function, if you see, it is same. And what is the function? It is swimming. Swimming is the function, right? So this type of structures, okay, this type of structures which have the common function, you call it analogous structures. You call them analogous structures, children. Cool. So they do not have a common function. sorry, they have a common function. They have the common function, but if you talk about the ancestors, okay, I am writing evolutionarily not related. Evolutionarily not much related. So obviously they might have common ancestors somewhere the other way, but yes, evolutionary might not be much related, just like how we had in divergent evolution. So this type of evolution, but different type of organisms are coming together showing a common functions. Okay, it is known as convergent evolution. What do you call this type of evolution? Convergent, where they are converging to a point that, okay, dolphin says that I have to swim anyways. Penguin, which is a bird, penguin is a bird, it also says that I have to swim. So this condition, because its food is over there, so it has to swim, this made it do a common function, which is why it has a common structure also. It has a common structure which is anatomically very much different, but yes, evolutionary also very much different, but they have converged to a same point. So flippers of penguins, penguin which is a bird, and dolphin which is a mammal, basically over here are example of what children? Adaptive gradation, convergent evolution, industrial melanism, natural selection. It is convergent evolution. Okay, they are converging because they have to do, because they are in the habitat, their habitat is making them do that. Works? Okay, now going ahead. 7th question, analogous structures are a result of, I already told you, analogous structures are a result of, analogous means same functions. Okay, analogous means same functions. They are result of children convergent evolution. I hope you are understanding. Okay, now going ahead. 8th question, 4 limbs of cat, lizard used in walking. Okay, 4 limbs of cat, lizard used in walking, 4 limbs of whale used in swimming, and 4 limbs of bats used in flying are examples of what? Over here you see, you're talking about cat, which is a mammal, lizard which is a reptile, okay, and you're talking about whale which is again a mammal, and bat which is again a mammal, but over here you see all of them are using 4 limbs. All of them, they are using 4 limbs. But if you see the functions of the 4 limbs, one is, 2 of them are used for walking, 2 of them are used for swimming, 1 of them is used for flying. Okay, so swimming, flying, one is swimming, one is flying, one is walking. So what can you say? The functions, are it same or different? Functions are different. And when functions are different, what do you call this? You call this homologous structures, my dear children. And this is a result of divergent evolution. So this becomes the answer. Okay, I think you're getting a bit close to understanding what is homologous and analogous things. With questions, you will understand things better. Okay, now going ahead. Question number 9. Which one of the following are analogous structures? Now again, what do you have to find? Analogous means functions have to be same. So wings of bat, wings of pigeon, both of them are using it for flying only. Functions are same, so this becomes the answer. You don't have to go to the other options also. But still, let's see. Gills of prawn and lungs of man. Gills of prawn and lungs of man. Do you think both of them are used for breathing, but do you think that they are actually related in some or other ways? No, I cannot say that. It's not entirely same. Okay, one is gills are used for aquatic organisms, whereas lungs is used for terrestrial things. So that is different. But over here, when you talk about wings, wings is for air. There is no aquatic, there is no terrestrial. It's just for air, for flying in the air. Okay, now thorns of bougainvillea, tendrils of cucurbita, nothing. So over here, this becomes the example. Why I'm not explaining this? Because I have to explain this in the next question or in a few questions. So I'll be showing you this. So wings of a bat and wings of pigeon, they are used for flying. Just think that. Okay, yes, the function should be the same. So this becomes the answer. Going ahead, the process by which different which organisms with different evolutionary history. Okay, evolve similar phenotypic adaptation. What do you mean by phenotypic adaptations? Basically similar physical characters. Physical I'm saying, okay, not anatomical. They have similar physical characters. Why? In response to common environmental challenge. So because of the habitat that they are having, this is a common habitat that they are having, so they have same physical characters. Okay, so what is this called? What is this process known as? The process by which organisms with different evolutionary history, okay, they have a very different evolutionary history as well. They are going on like this. You call this non-random evolution, you call this adaptive radiation, you call this natural selection, or you call this convergent evolution. It is known as convergent evolution. I told you, different organisms. For example, birds, the penguin and the flipper of what? Dolphin. They were both allowed to live in water for hunting food and everything like that. So this is the common habitat they are having, which is why they have the physical character, the same physical character, basically the same function. So this has to be convergent evolution, my dear little champions. Okay, got it? Next question. Question number 11. The eye of octopus and the eye of cat. Okay, eye of octopus, eye of cat. Now before going ahead with the question itself, you tell me, octopus, it is actually considered to be an invertebrate. Okay, it is coming in mollusk. It's very less advanced than us. Cat, which is a mammal, is like advanced like us. So basically over here, my dear children, you tell me, this is a different organism, this is a different organism, but eye, have you seen anyone walking with the eye or eating with the eye? No, eyes are just for seeing, right? So basically over here, the eyes are serving a common function. So whatever you say, I do not even have to go ahead with the question, but still they are analogous, they are analogous structures, and it is a result of what? Convergent evolution. So both of them, they needed to have a good view, which is why they're converging and having eyes. So that is a novel thing. And since they have the same function, this becomes analogous structures. Now, are they anatomically similar? No. So they have different structures internally, but yes, it is seeing for eyes. It is used for seeing things. That is the thing that matters. So the eye of octopus and the eye of cat show different patterns of structure, yet they perform similar function. This is an example of what? Analogous organs that have evolved due to convergent evolution. Okay, which is the correct answer. They are analogous structures which have evolved due to convergent evolution. Do we have to go ahead reading all the options? No. This becomes the answer. It cannot be divergent evolution, it cannot be homologous organ, it cannot be homologous organ, it has to be this. Got it? Okay. Now, 12th question. Given below, okay, children, I want to tell you one thing. Now, if you think that I am going like this, one question after then another, you can stop the video. You can watch it by yourself, okay? If you're feeling that, okay, it's too much fast, I'm not able to understand or register myself. So, please pause the video, watch it, try to understand, and then only move ahead. Works? Now, question number 12. Given below are 4 statements, A to D, each with 1 or 2 blanks. Select the option which correctly fills up the blanks in the 2 statements. So over here you have A, B, C, D. Among them they have put the statements over here which have correct blanks being filled. So this is the blank 1, blank 2, everyone is mentioned over here. The wings of butterfly and birds look alike and are the results of. So for A we have over here. So for A can be convergent. It can be convergent. A over here also it's convergent. So let's pick. Is it convergent? Wings of butterfly and birds look alike and are the result of convergent evolution? Yes, both are used for flying. So this becomes correct. So this at least is correct. I'm not sure about D. Let's see the D option. Okay, since I have found the A, let's see the D option. According to Darwin, evolution took place due to dash and dash of the fittest. Why did evolution take place? According to Darwin, Darwin said that there were small variations in them. He didn't talk about big variations. He didn't know about mutations and all. He just spoke about small variations in them, and this small variations which were there, okay, according to Darwin, evolution took place due to variations and survival. Because of this variation, they were able to survive, and because of the survival, they were able to reproduce and go ahead. So basically, D is also correct, where this is small variation and this is survival. So this option is correct, but since I want you to make you understand certain things, let's go ahead. So B option. Now B, I have to see, Miller showed that H2, NH3 and dash when exposed to electric discharge in a flask resulted in the formation of dash. So let's see B. B over here says oxygen. Miller showed that CH4, H2, NH3 and oxygen. Oxygen cannot be the thing. It cannot be oxygen. So this becomes wrong. This option itself becomes wrong. I don't have to go for this. So this is the wrong option. Going ahead. B again. It is water vapor and when exposed to electric discharge in a flask resulted in the formation of amino acids. So this is correct. Let's see C. Vermiform appendix is dash organ and dash evidence of evolution. Is rudimentary organ an anatomical evidence? No children, it is not an anatomical evidence. So C becomes wrong. So in that way you have to tell the answer. But over here you already got the answer, so you do not have to mug up more. Okay, and D though you already know the answer. So this is the correct option that we are having. Works? Easy? Going ahead, we have 13th question. In the case of peppered moth, that is Biston batellaria, the black coloured form became dominant over the light coloured form in England during industrial revolution. This is an example of what? Okay, so there were two moths. Okay, my dear children, there were two type of moth. One was white in color, okay, though it does not look like moth over here, does not have this thing, so I'll just change, okay. And other one was dark in color. So for dark, I'm just mentioning this works, okay. Dark as in it was black in color, okay. Now, both of them, they were different types, okay, of what? Biston, sorry, of peppered. They were commonly known as peppered moth. They were known as peppered moth and the actual name is Biston batellaria. Actually both of them have different name. One is Biston batellaria, another one I forgot. But anyways, they have mentioned like that, so let's mention like this only. Okay, so before industrialization happened, before industries and everything started forming, you know, the environment was really good. And because of this good environment, plants on its surface had something that is known as lichen. What do you call it? Lichen. Lichen is a symbiotic association of algae and fungi. So some type of algae and fungi, they come together to form something that is known as lichen, and lichen is white in color. Lichen is basically white in color. So they formed this patch of white things over the entire plant body. Now over here I said there are two type of moths. When moth A, which was white in color, it came and sat over here, the organisms which feeded on the moth were not able to view it, were not able to see it, because the background, as you see, it's totally white, and in white background how can you see the organism? You cannot see the organism. So this was kind of safe. Okay, so this was kind of safe, and I'll say that nature was selecting this. It was nature which was selecting it initially. Okay, the white moth was not able to be seen. On the other hand, if I put a black moth over here, don't you think it will be clearly visible? It will be clearly visible, and it was caught. So initially the nature was selecting the white moth. Now what happened after industrialization? You know, the pollution and everything happens, and when pollution and everything happens, lichen is a indicator of pollution. So it won't be growing in an area where there is too much amount of pollution. So it stopped its growth. Now the tree trunk came back to the color of dark. Okay, it came back in the color of dark. Now over here, if the black moth comes and sits, do you think it will be visible? Even when I drew it, it is not visible to you. Then how can other predators see it? Whereas if I put a white moth over here, will it be visible? It will be definitely visible. So this time the nature selected what, children? The nature selected the black one. The nature selected the black one. So it was nature which was selecting. So in the case of peppered moth, the black coloured form became dominant over the light coloured form in England during industrial revolution, when the industrialization everything happened. This is the example of what? Appearance of darker coloured individuals due to very poor sunlight? No, does not have anything to do with it. Protective mimicry? No children, no mimicry, nothing is there. Inheritance of darker colour character acquired due to darker environment? It's because of the darker environment that, okay, so for example, if the earth turns out to be very dark, we all will turn, will all of us turn to be dark in colour? No. That is wrong. Natural selection, whereby darker forms were selected. It is a nature's way of selecting things, because that's how it favored. So it is natural selection, the example of natural selection, my dear children. Natural selection means the organisms which are fit for the environment, which is able to survive because it's a variation in a particular environment, they will be surviving. That is natural selection. So over here they are perfectly fit. The black ones are perfectly fit in the industrialized era. So they will be surviving, and this is natural selection. Okay, so the correct answer becomes D. Now, going ahead, which one of the following pairs of items correctly belongs to the category of organs mentioned against it? So you have to see which of them are correct. So nephridia of earthworms and Malpighian tubules of cockroach. This you might have studied in 11th grade, but let's keep it on hold. Wings of honeybee and wings of crow, homologous organs. Can they be homologous organs, my dear children? No, they are analogous. Homologous means it should be having different functions, but wings, they have the same function. So this is wrong. Thorn of bougainvillea and tendrils of cucurbita, an analogous organ. Now I think I should be explaining it to you. So basically you have a plant, okay, and this plant, okay, I'll talk about another plant first. So usually what happens, we have plants and we have axillary buds on the plants, which later gives rise to the new stem and stuff like that. Okay, this is what, children? Axillary bud. Over here, in the case of bougainvillea, what happens is that this axillary bud turns out to be a thorn. Okay. Now, on the other hand, when I talk about cucurbita, this axillary bud goes and gives out a tendril. Now, you tell me the function of thorn and tendril, can it be same? No, functions are not same. Functions are not same. If functions are not same, what type of structures are this? They are homologous structures. They have all originated from the axillary bud region only. So the origin and everything is same, as I said. Four-limb, remember? So over here, the origin is same, but the function is entirely different. So can you call them analogous organs? No, they are homologous organs. They do not have the same function. So this is wrong. It is written analogous organ, so this is wrong. Nictitating membrane and blind spot in human beings, vestigial organs. Yes, again, this is again wrong. They are not vestigial organs. Okay, they are not vestigial organs in us. Now, going ahead, nephridia of earthworm and what do you mean by vestigial organs? The organs basically which are not needed, which we think it's not needed, it's just there in our body. That is what you mean by vestigial organs. So both of them, they are not vestigial organs in us. Nephridia of earthworm and Malpighian tubules of cockroach, they are excretory organs, and this is exactly true. Now, if you do not know about these things, will you be able to answer this? Even if you do not know about this, okay? If you know about all this thing, you will be able to answer that this is the correct answer. Get it? So that's the power of education, my dear children. So A becomes the correct answer. Okay? Going ahead. Which one of the following statement is correct? There is no evidence of the existence of gills during embryogenesis of mammals. So it is saying there was no evidence of gills. Embryogenesis means when the zygote, basically there is one form of embryo, this embryo forms into another form of embryo, and then later we have the fetus. This is embryogenesis. This whole process is known as embryogenesis. And the first statement says that there is no evidence of gills, right? Evidence of gills in the embryogenesis. Well, there is evidence of gills. Every one of us, when we were born, we had gills in the initial stages of our embryo, which shows that we have evolved from a common ancestor. Because fishes have gills, we should not have gills, but we had it when we were an embryo. Similarly, reptiles also have, amphibians also have, all of them have common thing, that is gills, slits being present in their embryonic stage, which later on goes away. Okay, so there is no evidence, this becomes wrong. This is not correct. Now, all plant and animal cells are totipotent. Totipotent means they have a potency to divide into different cells. No, they are not. All of them, they cannot be totipotent. Ontogeny repeats phylogeny. What do you mean by ontogeny repeats phylogeny? Ontogeny basically means the embryonic development. Okay, and repeats phylogeny means evolutionary history. So the embryonic development repeats the evolutionary history. Is it correct or not? It is entirely correct. I told you, evolutionary, we say that we have been evolved from fishes. From fishes came amphibians. From amphibians came, okay, I am going the other way. I think I don't remember. Yeah, reptiles, and then fishes, then reptiles, then amphibians, then other things. So basically, there was an order. Okay, there was an order in which we were evolved. Okay, and this order of evolution can be seen during our embryogenesis. At this point of time, when we are embryo, at this point of time, what happens, children? Basically, we also have gills. So embryonic development is obviously repeating the evolutionary history. We also have tail, we also have certain things which goes away later on. So ontogeny repeats phylogeny. This is entirely correct, and this is a law. This is known as biogenetic law, children. This is known as biogenetic law, and this was given by Ernst Haeckel. This was given by Ernst Haeckel. And this was refuted by another scientist whose name was also Ernst, but was born via Ernst. So there was a different scientist who said this is wrong. So that is also an important NEET question, which we have done in the class. Okay, so this is the correct answer, my dear children. This is the only correct option that we have. Stem cells are specialized cells. No, children, they are not specialized cells. Okay, so done. Going ahead, again, as I said, if you don't know about the other things, at least if you're sure about one thing, you can just go for that. Remember? Now, next thing, 16th question. Which of the following is not a living fossil? What do you mean by living fossil? A living fossil is basically one that shows, that acts like a fossil, that shows that I have the character of this and this organism. So I have the features of the extinct organism. That is what you mean by living fossil. Okay, so peripatus, your king crab, your spinodon, everything, they are living fossils. But when you talk about Archaeopteryx, they are not living fossil, they are dead. They are dead, and they are said to be the link between dinosaurs and birds. Dinosaurs and birds. So they also had this beak and everything just like birds, but the problem was that in their beak they had teeth also just like dinosaurs. So there were certain features which were common to both birds and dinosaurs in them, and this is not an example of a living fossil. This is not a living fossil, this is long dead. Okay, so this becomes your answer. Going ahead, 17th question. Convergent evolution is illustrated by rat and dog, bacterium and protozoan, starfish and cuttlefish, dogfish and whale. So over here you have to see that they do not have to be related, and they should be having some common function. So over here, if I see starfish is not like a fish, you know, right? Starfish is structured like this, which is an echinoderm. They are different, they do not have anything in common. But over here, dogfish and whale, both of them, this is a mammal, this is a fish, but both of them have what? Have basically flippers to swim around. Okay, they have this thing to swim around. So this is a example of convergent evolution. Cool? Works? Okay, let's go ahead. 18th question. Which of the following are homologous organs? Again, homologous functions should be different. It cannot be same, my dear children. It has to be different. So wings of birds and locusts, wrong. Wings are used. Wings of birds and pectoral fins of fishes. Wings of bat and butterfly, wrong. Legs of frog and cockroach. Legs on frog and cockroach, both of them basically no. Anyways, it's for movement, so it will be no. Now, wings of birds and pectoral fins of fishes, yes, they are like arising from the same thing, hence it becomes correct, even though they have different functions. So they have different functions, which is why they become correct. And also one more thing, yeah, they are arising from the same structures, some or the other way, in some or the other way. Okay, now going ahead, you have 19th question. Darwin's finches are a good example of what? Now Darwin's finches, if you know, okay, so what happens, what in near South America, there was an island that is known as Galapagos Island. There is no O, okay. Galapagos Island, over here he saw that, okay, there were certain finches which were seed eating. There were certain birds which were seed eating birds. But then later Darwin moved to other area. There he found that there were certain cacti and everything. You know cacti, the thorny cacti, and certain birds were there similar to them, but they have different beak structures. Okay, over here he went, he saw that certain insects were very much in amount, and here also he saw the same bird with again some other beak structure. Okay, so this thing that he saw, what was it? How can you say that this is an example of what? Basically, from a common point, organisms are radiating to different regions and getting adapted to that particular habitat. They are getting adapted to that particular habitat. This is known as adaptive radiation, my dear children. What do you call this? This is known as adaptive radiation. And you can see over here that this is also an example of divergent evolution. They are diverging and they are evolving other ways. So this is adaptive radiation. Now one more thing, when two such adaptive radiations come, for example, there is one group of organism doing like this. There is another group of organism also doing like this. So over here, another group which comes in, okay, another group of organism which comes in, some other thing, okay, not bird, something else. So they come over here, they also go to this area, they also go to this area, and they also find ways to eat this. they also find certain ways to eat this. So they also develop certain beak-like structures, things like this. Okay, so over here if you see the functions over here, they will same, but they are evolving from a whole different thing. So this becomes an example of convergent evolution. This becomes an example of conversion. They are different things, they're coming together to an habitat to have common function. That is known as convergent evolution. So whenever two organisms are showing adaptive radiations together in an area, they are showing convergent evolution. But when you talk about only one single organism, that is over here, if this organism is radiating into different parts, it is getting differentiated, it is known as divergent evolution. Now that could also have been a question, which is why I explained it. Okay. Now, if you have a doubt regarding that, you can go watch the video on adaptive radiation. There I have explained everything in a very nice manner. Cool? Works? Okay. Now, okay, this is again a question which does not have anything to do with what we have learned so far. But if you use your brain a little bit, you will be able to score. Okay? So, Nicotiana sylvestris flowers only during long days. So they are flowering only during long days. And same, N. tabactum flowers only during short days. So shorter days they will be flowering, longer days they will be, other ones will be flowering. If raised in a laboratory under different photoperiods as in different light journey periods, okay, they can be induced to flower at the same time and can be cross-fertilized to produce self-fertile offspring. So if in the laboratory condition they are given the photoperiod, they are given all the things that they require, at this point of time only they will come together to flower at the same point of time. Usually they do not flower at the same point of time, and then cross-fertilization can be induced and they can get an offspring. So what is the best reason for considering that this and this is a separate species? How can you say with this information given over here that this is a separate species? So you got to understand one thing, that in a normal time, when normal conditions, they are not interbreeding because they have different periods, different photoperiods. So obviously if I want it to be a species, then obviously they have to be breeding, then only I can say that this is a species. What is a group of species which can interbreed and produce a fertile offspring in a natural condition? But on the other hand, when I am putting them in a laboratory, I am giving photoperiod, I am inducing something, it's not very natural, and now they are able to breed. So why do I say that, okay, they are breeding, they still produce an offspring in the laboratory condition, but still why do I say they are the different species? Because the reason will be, do you think that they are reproductively distinct? If they are reproductively distinct, they should not be producing offspring over here. They are physiologically distinct, again same thing. They are morphologically distinct, in that case again they won't be fertilizing, fusing over here. The reason is that they cannot interbreed in nature, and if you cannot interbreed in nature, then obviously you have to be considered to be a different species. If you have to be considered to be a same species, then you have to interbreed in nature as well, in natural conditions. So since that is not happening, I say this is not the case. Works? Cool? Going ahead. 21st question. Continuity of germplasm theory was given by whom? Continuity of germplasm theory was given by whom? De Vries, Weismann, Darwin, Lamarck. The answer is Weismann, my dear children. It's not given in your NCERT. You have to study it. So many questions have come. Okay. His name was August Weismann. Yeah. August Weismann. So sometimes all of a sudden it just goes, then it comes back. Yeah, and one more thing came back right now, and that is, where is that question, children? Where is that question? Where is that question? Yes, this question over here. What do you have first? You have aves, that is birds. From aves came amphibians. From amphibian came reptiles. From reptile came the birds and the mammals. Sorry. What am I writing? Pisces. Pisces means fishes. You had fishes, then amphibians, then reptiles, then birds, which are known as aves, and then you had mammals also coming from the same lineage. So this is how it evolved. And every time an amphibian is born, they also show gills. Every time a reptile is born, they also have gills. Every time a bird or mammals is formed, in their embryonic stage, they also have gills. So this shows that probably we have evolved from this particular guy who was already formed. So this is evolutionary evidence. Okay. Okay. Now coming back to the question that we were solving. So sorry, sometimes my brain just works like that. Yeah. So August Weismann was the person who gave the continuity of germplasm theory. What did he say and what did he say? So I'll tell you a bit about Lamarck first, so that it becomes easy for you to understand and learn. So Lamarck was a guy who said that there was giraffe, and these giraffe, they had small neck initially, but the food that they had was at the top. So they stretched their neck like this. Okay, that's how they had long necks. And he said that this is a character that they have acquired throughout their lifetime because of stretching again and again. This is something that I'm acquiring. I'm not inheriting this from my parents. I've acquired it. And now when he saw that the long necked giraffe they were mating, it gave rise to long necked giraffe. Again, the progeny were also having long neck. So he said, oh, the character which was acquired during their lifetime is now passed to the next generation. So that is what Lamarck said. But Weismann said this cannot be true. This cannot be true because the things that we acquire today cannot be passed on. For example, if I think that I'll go to gym and make my muscles strong, I cannot pass it down to my offspring like that because this is something that I'm acquired. The things that I can actually pass down is the things that is stored in my genes. So those are inheritable characters. Those can be passed on. So that is something very much different. Okay. So August Weismann was against it and he gave the theory of continuity of germplasm, according to which there were certain cells which are known as germ cells, okay, and there were some other cells which are known as somatic cells. So all the normal cells of our body, they are somatic cells. The sperm and the egg, they comes under germ cells. So if there are changes in the cells over here, the germ cells, that changes can be inherited. The changes in the genes of the germ cells, that changes can be inherited, because obviously you know when fertilization happens, you're not giving away the somatic cells, you're just donating the germ cells. One person is giving the sperm, the other person is giving the egg. This is just the germ cells. So any change in this germ cell can be bringing out changes in the future organism. So this is what you mean by continuity of germplasm, which was given by Weismann in accordance to say that whatever Lamarck said is wrong. Okay, you cannot inherit acquired character. Probably the giraffe, why did it have long necks? Because there were some variations occurring. Because of some mutation, one organism had long neck, and this long neck was making it able to survive in that particular environment. So basically, who all that had that particular feature, they survived. Now everyone has long necks. All the giraffes that you see, they have long necks. Cool. So this is the correct answer. Going ahead, Weismann cut off tails of mice generation after generation, but tails neither disappeared nor shortened, showing that what? Okay, now to prove that, obviously he said a continuity of germplasm, but he also proved it to Lamarck. How? So he took mice, okay, Cutie and Sweetie, I told it in the class. Okay, Cutie and Sweetie he took, and then he cut off their tail. Fine. So I'm making Cutie. Twing. Okay, and there is Sweetie. I don't know why Sweetie looks a little bad, but yeah, both of them look bad, but yeah, okay, anyways. So what did I do? I am Weismann, okay, and I cut their tail. So poor Sweetie and Cutie, I cut their tail, and then I expected, okay, according to Lamarck, what would have been the condition? This is something that I have acquired during my lifetime, okay. So now the baby that should be born, should be having shorter tail, according to Lamarck. But did this happen? No. Every time he cut this, for example, this guy also, he got its tail cut. But still, what did he see at the end? That whatever generation were formed, they had long tail itself. Whatever you do, they will be having long tail, because you are not changing the genetic character, my dear children. You are not messing up with the germ cells. And how can you bring about changes in inheritance? So these things that you see over here, this cannot be inherited. It's an acquired trait. You're talking about inherited trait. So basically, Weismann cut off the tails of mice generation after generation, but tails neither disappeared nor shortened, showing what? Showing that Darwin was correct? No. Tail is an essential organ? No. Mutation theory is wrong? No. Lamarckism was wrong in inheritance of acquired character. This is wrong. You cannot inherit the acquired character. Cool. So that is 22nd question. Now going ahead, we have 23rd question. Variations caused by mutations as proposed by Hugo de Vries are what? So according to Hugo de Vries, he said that variations, whichever you are seeing today, okay, whichever is making an organism survive, okay, is because of mutation. So he was the last guy to say that, and he perfectly said that. Okay, Darwin and everyone knew that there were variations, but according to Darwin, all the variations that he saw was all small variations. He did not see big variations. But according to Hugo de Vries, he said the variation that you see, it's a random process. It's not like I'll choose you, I'll choose you. It's a very random process. Anything can happen. These mutations can be bad, these mutations can be good. It is totally directionless. So variations arising by mutation has to be random, and it should be directionless. This is the correct answer. So you cannot expect good mutations to happen always. There can be bad mutations that could happen. That's how we get diseases. Good, cool. Did you get the answer? Okay, now 24th. The idea of mutations was brought forth by, again, it was Hugo de Vries, I told you again. Okay, it was not Mendel who was working on Pisum sativum, that is pea plant, Hardy Weinberg who worked on allelic frequency in no children, Charles Darwin who observed a wide variety of organisms during sea voyage. No, they were all knowing that yeah, variations is there. This guy, even though he was the father of genetics, didn't know that these factors that he was saying was genes. So obviously, because he didn't have all the tools to say that. But over here, Hugo de Vries was the person who worked on evening primrose. You have to remember the name of the flower. Evening primrose, it is the flower's name, on which he studied, and then he came to conclusion that, okay, mutation is the one that brings out variation. Okay, so this becomes the correct answer. Now, 25th question. De Vries gave his mutation theory on organic evolution while working on what? De Vries gave his mutation theory. I told you right now the name of the flower. But over here you see all the scientific names. How can we know, ma'am? Let me tell you, this is the answer. Ornithera lamakiana. This is the answer. Okay. Primrose is also known as this. So you can go for this answer. It's not Pisum sativum, it's not Drosophila melanogaster. Drosophila melanogaster is the fly. Okay, Pisum sativum is a pea, Althea rose is another flower. So basically, this becomes the answer. Works? Next, 26th question. Variations in gene frequencies within population can occur by chance other than natural selection. So it is said that variations, okay, gene frequencies as in, okay, in a population, there are two different type of individuals. Okay. So over here, the blue eye allele was more, whereas the brown eye allele was less. The alleles that code for blue eye were more and the brown eye allele were less. Okay, but over here things are different. The brown eye things were more and blue eye things were less. So here the gene frequency is different. Here the gene frequency is different. That is what I wanted to say. Now think of this situation where basically there's a population like this and there are group of variations. There are group of alleles. Okay, and since over here as you see the blue eye, the ones are more, they are like the blue alleles are more, the brown alleles are really less. And okay, I should not be saying that example. Another example, wait. Okay, so there were white beetles and green beetles. Okay, white beetles were in more amount. White beetles were in more amount, so obviously the genes coding them were also in higher frequency. It was there. Now what happened? A big person came. He was talking on the phone. He stamped on them. He stamped on them. Now what happens, children, over here? When he stamps on them, they will get killed. And now what is the situation that is going to be arise over here? You will be having more amount of them and obviously they got killed, so you just have two of them. Now that is a difference that is coming, and this is occurring by chance. No one actually did it. This is not nature selection or things like that. This is not nature selection. It does not say that you are visible or you are not. Nothing like that happened. Basically one person came and stamped over them and it got killed. So now the gene frequency have totally changed over here. So this is an example of random thing that has occurred by chance, and this is known as genetic drift. Whenever this type of thing happens, it is known as genetic drift. Works? Okay, it's not example of random mating. Random mating is not happening over here. Nothing. Okay, it's genetic drift that is occurring by chance. Always remember, whenever there is a change in gene frequency, by chance the word has come. That means it has to be this genetic drift. Okay, now going ahead. 27th question. Which of the following is not true for a species? Members of a species can interbreed. Can they interbreed? Yes, obviously they have to be interbreeding. That's why they are a species. Gene flow does not occur between population of a species. What do you mean by gene flow? Basically, okay, so over here I had Americans. I'm in America. Sorry, wait. Again I will give the example of blue and black eye. Okay, so this is blue eye people, and this is black eye people. Okay, or brown eye people. Now over here I had I had blue, black, I have people. Okay, this is America, this is Australia. Both of the places you have human beings only. Species is same. Species is entirely same. Over here, these blue guys, okay, these blue-eyed guys thought that let's go there. Okay, 4 of them, they thought that let's go there. So now, how many of you have over here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you think that this is going to hamper the gene frequency? Yes, this is going to change the gene frequency over here, and it is also going to change the gene frequency over here. Now, what do you call this process as? Where the genes are flowing from here to here, you call this as gene flow. You call this as gene flow, and gene flow can occur in between species. It can definitely occur between species because of the same type. So gene flow can definitely occur between them. You get it? So gene flow does not occur between the population of the species. This is wrong. Gene flow does not occur between 2 different populations of a species. For example, there are birds and there are human beings. So birds came over here. Will it change anything with the human beings? No. It does not have anything to do with the species, that is human beings. You get it? Now, each species is reproductively isolated from each other species. Yes, one species cannot reproduce with another species. They are totally isolated. Now, variations occur among members of a species. This is correct, no? This is correct, this is correct, this is also correct. What is not true? This is not true. So this becomes your answer. Works? 27 is the correct answer. Now going ahead with 28th question. In the development history of mammalian heart, it is observed that it passes through a 2-chambered fish-like heart. Then how mammalian heart, how many chambers does it have? 4 chambers. We all have 4 chambers. Okay, fishes, they have 2 chambers. Okay, amphibians, they have 3 chambers, and reptiles also, they have 3 chambers, but humans, they have 4 chambers. So to which hypothesis can this be cited? Statement be approximated. So they are saying when in the development of mammalian heart, when the heart is being formed, we see that there is first 2-chambered heart, then there is 3-chambered heart, then there is 4-chambered heart. So basically, again, ontogeny is basically the embryonic development. The embryonic development that you see, it repeats what, children? Phylogeny. Ontogeny is repeating phylogeny. Phylogeny means evolutionary history. So over here, this is known as biogenetic law. What do you call this? This is known as biogenetic law. Works? Okay. Now 29. Which one of the following describes correctly the homologous structures? What are the homologous structures that are being described over here? Okay. Or basically, what are the features of the homologous structures which are being correctly described over here? Organs with anatomical similarities but performing different functions. Yes, they are anatomically similar. 4 limbs. Okay. But functions, all of them are doing different functions. Okay. So basically, this becomes the correct answer for the first time. The first option itself becomes correct. This is homologous structure. While if you are talking about analogous structures, then organs with anatomical dissimilarities but performing same functions, that is analogous structures. Okay, this is the correct answer. Now we are there for the last question that we have over here. In a species, the weight of a newborn ranges from 2 to 5 kg. This is the usual range. Okay. 97% of the newborn with an average weight between 3 to 3.3 kg survive. So the one with 3 to 3.3 kg, they survive. Whereas 99% of the infants born with a weight from 2 to 2.5 and 4.5 to 5, they died. Only they peaked. So which type of selection process is taking place? Cyclic selection, directional selection, stabilizing selection, disruptive selection. So in the case of natural selection, there's a range that I'll tell you. So basically, when the average features are being chosen, okay, I say over here the peak is mentioned. Okay, so these flowers, I'm saying, these fetus with this much weight were able to survive, which is an average thing. Okay, so I call this as a stabilizing selection. Stabilizing selection. On the other hand, if it was said that the extreme 4.5 and 5 was selected, so over here this was the stabilized thing, but it is moving towards one direction or it is coming towards this direction, either way you call this as if the case was, this answer is stabilizing selection for sure. Now I am explaining you the other type of selections where basically it was said that the children who had 4.5 to 5, they were in high numbers. In that case, the stabilized one is shifting towards that area. This is known as directional selection. Directional selection. It can be either this side, either it can be that side. Now there is another scenario where it is said that basically the fetus who were having 2.5, they survived, and also the one they have 4.5, they also survived. Now over here, this was the stabilizing one. They disrupted into this thing, so it is known as disruptive selection. That both of them are chosen in some or the other way. Okay, but the answer for this, as I said, 3.3, it comes in the average range. It is getting selected, so it is a stabilizing selection. This came in NEET 2019, my dear children. I hope you got it. Okay, works? Okay, so that's all for today's mock test. I know it went pretty long, but we have covered a lot of things from evolution. It's very much important for you to practice it as well. So keep practicing at home, and if you think that, okay ma'am, I didn't understand a question, you can comment down that, ma'am, can you please tell me this question? I will try to explain it to you in the comment section itself. Okay, and if you think that this particular video was useful for you, if you think that you got benefited in some or the other ways, then definitely let me know that as well. I'll be really happy seeing that. And I wish you all the success and happiness, and I hope you all are smiling, you're being happy, and you're being motivated in studying. Please don't think that I am not studying, I'm not studying, and I'm going to mess it up. If you think like that, it will end up like that. So be positive. Everything is going to be fall in its own place. You have to try. Trial makes the difference. Okay, so that's all. And if you think that this video was useful, do not forget to subscribe to our channel, that is Diksha Karataka. Bye-bye.